today we spent all morning walking around the market, well, all morning, about an hour walking around the market, shopping with the various vendors, some of them new, some of them longtime friends. We love the market for so many reasons. We frequent there multiple times a week, sometimes out of necessity, sometimes just to get a sausage on a Harb roll. Today we did both. So with what we got today, we are doing a dish that we've been demoing inside of our restaurant. We picked up some beautiful Kampachi from Tom at Kate's Fish. What we love about working with Tom is that we know that everything he brings in is gonna be as fresh as you can get. So today, he brought in this absolutely gorgeous Kampachi that just pristine, to be completely frank. We don't want to do a whole lot to it, so I thought it would be fun to turn this into a crudo or a carpaccio. So in a sense, what that means is it's going to be a raw fish stick, and just really kind of to showcase how good this fish is that Tom brings in to Kate's. So we almost prefer sometimes to eat it raw. Like don't eat everything raw because not everything is meant to be eaten raw, but this particular fish is definitely meant to be eaten raw. So I was gonna butcher this down a little bit. We're only gonna use a little bit of this fish for this purpose. So if you go to the market and you go to ask Tom, hey, can I get some Kampachi? You don't need to get all of this. We will use this in the restaurant. But ask for either a fillet or ask for, I don't know, a couple ounces of it, and I know who will be more than accommodating. And really, for this purpose, we're gonna use just a little bit of this. This is probably roughly 3.5 ounces of fish here. We're gonna layer it in between a couple pieces of saran wrap, so it's got enough space to move around, but also stick together a little bit. Doesn't make our board too messy. Doesn't break. And we're gonna use this, so it's what we call a burger smasher. It's a 3.5 pound weight that smashes probably 40 to 60 burgers every day. And today we're gonna smash fish because why not? It makes sense. I'm not gonna go too heavy on this. As far as how much weight I'm pressing down, you can see already that just with a couple pounds, it's really starting to get nice and flat. And I like to kind of rotate, go back and forth, and then just kind of keep, your fish will start to spread out. I'll kind of push it back into place as I'm pounding down. And you can use anything to pound it out. I've used hammers in my garage before. I don't recommend that. It's not as easy, but you never know. All right. So now we started off with that, like I said, 3.5 ounce cube of fish. And now we have almost this, as big as my face, size of pounded out carpaccio. All right, I'm gonna set this off the side in a little bit of ice well so it stays nice and cold. Keep it in that saran wrap. And now we are gonna make an ezme style salad. We got some blueberries. We just got in these absolutely gorgeous candy onions. Probably one of my favorite onions, especially onions that you can get here in Ohio. It's really like the perfect onion. It's like it's a sweet onion, so it still has a little bit of that spice, that bite to it that normal allium family does, but finishes almost like it's been dipped in sugar. So it's a beautiful thing. Some fresh garlic. We got a little bit of parsley, and then for good measure, we're gonna add in some Fresno chilies, a little bit of red pepper, lemon juice, herbs, and some seasons. Okay. All right. First thing we're gonna do here is we're gonna start cutting down our cherries. Now, everything is gonna get macerated down on this cutting board, so. All right. Okay, so now we just smash them in the back. We're just taking out these pits. I'm gonna really leave all this stuff on this board as I start to gather all the ingredients. The idea is that, all these things kind of get chopped up all together. And it will season a little bit on this board as well. All right, this is a Fresno chili. Now this is really, really fresh garlic. The stalks aren't even, haven't even really been dried yet. So this is gonna be a little bit more mild, which is what we want here. We don't want it to overpower. So we're just gonna do a couple of these fresh cloves. Cool. So that guy. All right, now we're gonna take some of this parsley, cut this off. Again, when you're making something like this, like think it's just like salsa. You're really just kind of, mixing everything together. You want a harmonious. You're gonna mount it with some type of olive oil to finish it, to really bring it all together. But the idea with this is that it's not, there's no, I'm not weighing anything out. Normally everything we do here is done in grams. I think anytime you're doing something fresh like this, we call it taking it to church. You just kind of get all your ingredients together, you put it all down, you mix it up, you taste, and that's the biggest thing. If you like it and it tastes good to you, that means it's probably pretty good. Or other people might like it as well. But the idea is that it's, it's fun, it's easy, it's interactive. You don't need to, worry about following too much of a recipe, because they're all gonna be a little bit different, and all the recipes are all gonna be determined upon how you like to eat and what tastes good to you. The other thing I love about shopping in the market is that we literally bought one onion. It doesn't often able to do that in a grocery store. You go to the grocery store and they have something on sale for $5 for a bag of potatoes, and you're like, oh man, $5 for a bag of, 10-pound bag of potatoes, that's a great deal. And then in a week, you have 4.5 pounds of not very good potatoes. So instead of, spending $5 on a whole bag of potatoes that I'm never gonna use, I get to spend a $1 or two and get 1 or 2 potatoes that I know I will use. So that's, the other thing that's great about going to the market is being able to obviously see the vendors, and talk to them eye to eye and be able to talk about the produce or the fish or the proteins, where they got it, and make that connection. You're not just, buying from an aisle in a grocery store, but you're able to buy smaller quantities, which is, I find that it's cathartic, and, it's nice to connect with your ingredients in that way. We're just gonna keep chopping this up, folding it onto each other, really harmoniously pulling it in, kind of mash it on down there, open up all those flavors. Like I said, I'm just gonna keep this down on this cutting board, kind of layer it out a little bit, because we still need to season. In order to do that, you kind of want to spread it out so it all gets nice and evenly seasoned here. First things first, as far as season goes, salt. Salt is not a spice. Salt brings out flavor. Okay, so be generous with salt. Don't be scared of salt. Obviously, everything in overabundance is bad for you. But as far as salt goes, don't think about it as a season. Think about it as something that enhances the flavor of your ingredients. So I'm gonna take a good, generous 3-finger pinch, a little bit more of this Molden sea salt. Just gonna kind of let it sit over top right now while I go gather a couple more ingredients. And for good measure, I got a little bit of pimenton de Espelette, which is more mild of a sweet pepper, real bright, a little fruity. And then I'm gonna hit it all with a little bit of cherry peppercorns. Okay. Take my knife, chop it, all kind of mix it in again, hit a little bit of olive oil. All right, at this point in time, with any type of cooking, check for season. I can't say that enough. As you're cooking, as you're going, as you're seasoning, you're always checking for seasoning, you're tasting, and more often than not, you're probably re-seasoning. tasting it, I realized I have a whole lemon up here that I didn't even use because there's no acid. So now we're gonna put in some acid. We're gonna take a little bit of date syrup. Drizzle that all in. Bring out the sweetness of the cherries and the blueberries. Accentuate those Ohio candy onions. All right, let's see. Perfect. We've got our salsa, our ezme. Let's grab a little plate over here, and we're gonna kind of finish the dish. And again, the idea of this is that it's bright, it's fresh. You know, we're in the midst of summertime here in Ohio. We have beautiful berries. We have some beautiful fresh fish. We don't want to do a whole lot to this. We want to celebrate these ingredients. And I'm just gonna kind of put these in here together. Just kind of dress them all up. Just enough. All right. Man, this is a little more salt. For good measure. Okay, now our fish. Make sure it's all in our bowl here. And to season this is just a little bit of tamari, which is a gluten-free soy sauce, and just a little bit of black vinegar that's been mixed together. I'm gonna brush this right on top. It's so light, just enough to bring out the flavor of the fish and give it a little bit of acidulation and salinity to it. That's it, just enough. You don't want to brown it, you want just enough to coat evenly. Finish with more olive oil, generous amount of olive oil, and a little bit of sea salt. And that's all she wrote. It's a beautiful way to celebrate fresh Ohio produce, fresh Ohio fruits. I mean, the Kampachi that we are bringing in from Tom is just absolutely gorgeous. There's no point in doing anything more other than something that's just so simple and so refreshing, especially in the high heat of Ohio summers. Thank you so much.